Hi, I'm Effie. I'm an Android developer at Udemy. And a few months ago, I created a proof of concept of how a Udemy app will look like in Android TV. And today I want to share my experience and how was building the app like. So it all started when I had this idea on how to put Udemy content on a TV. I kept hearing about Android TV as standalone devices, and Google is announcing it as built into TVs all the time. And I thought Udemy will be a good candidate to be displayed on a TV because it's courses that people consume. Most of them are videos, and I just thought that would be a perfect fit. Google said that people spend more time consuming content the bigger the screen is. And at home, in general, they prefer to watch TV over their mobile devices. They also expect to use the remote control when they are using a TV. So I started reading the design guidelines and playing with the TV, and everything seems to be fairly straightforward and easy to understand. They talk about building an app that uses remote control and not a keyboard or a touch screen. They talk about using voice search instead of typing, and creating a TV look and feel, which means large images, less text, easy navigation. So I got a device because the emulator doesn't work and there are no Genymotion images for the TV, and started building the app. And overall, it took me only a couple of days to get the initial structure up and running. So for today, I split my talk into two parts. In the first part, I want to talk about what are the similarities between developing for mobile and developing for TV. And for the second part, I want to cover more of what was different and what I changed. When I got started, I found out that Android TV works just like any other mobile app. The Android TV runs a full version of Android M, and in order to create the same UI and the same look and feel as the rest of the other TV apps, there's a support library that I used that contains default and customizable UI views that I used as templates to bring forth Udemy's data model. So just like any serious developer, I read all the official documentation and unofficial documentation about TV and all the Leanback source code. No, just kidding. I just opened Android Studio and clicked some buttons. Starting up is the same as adding any other type of model, and clicking on next button here creates a default template with code that is super easy to modify and customize. This is how the basic structure looks. There's a lot of code thrown in here by default. Most of it looks pretty familiar. There's activities, there are fragments, and there is a basic model, which is the movie and movie list, just for the sake of showing how it all hooks up. And in fact, hitting play on this will straight out work and do everything other than actually play a video. All the rest of the code that was written for mobile just works. The TV model sits just alongside the rest of the code base, and I can use all the other previously written code and all the APIs in my TV app. This is the adult-generated Gradle file. It marks the minimum SDK version to 17, even though Android TV exists only for Android 5.0 and up. There is the three important libraries here, which is the Leanback support library. And to use that, you need the recycler view and the app compact as well. It's not mandatory to use Leanback. You can write your own UI and it will work. It just really makes the process really, really easy. The support library version is 23.2.1. I did have issues with earlier versions. They didn't mesh well, but right now it looks like everything is working. And full Android just means that all the other libraries that I used before just work. So things like Dagger, Picasso, or Retrofit, Green DAO, everything just out of the box. The two caveats are that the support libraries all need to be the same version. And we were using SQL Cypher, which has a bug on M if SQL Cypher is lower than 3.3.1. So that's another thing to pay attention to. As for application manifest changes, it again was fairly straightforward. As for user features, it's about disabling the touchscreen because you can't touch the TV and enabling Leanback. And as for activities, just declaring activities and declaring the main launcher one also as a Leanback launcher activity. So far, everything was pretty straightforward and similar and looked pretty much the same as starting up a mobile app. And now I want to dive a little bit more about the UI differences between the mobile app and a TV app and how I created the UI for Udemy's TV app. And I want to focus especially on the Leanback support library. So Leanback introduces some main UI concept or elements that repeat more or less throughout their pages. And the first one is presenter, which is basically another name for a recycler adapter. It has the same methods that we're used to. It has a view holder. It's just a different name. It has a presenter selector, which is a thing that comes into play if there's more than one type of presenters in the same view. And it has an array object adapter, which is just a generic adapter that you can just throw everything else into. So this is how Udemy app is built. And this is, I want to dive a little bit into the main homepage. And this should work, actually, but it doesn't. Let's try this again. Play! I know you can do it. Is it because of the quick view, maybe? Because of quick player? That it's not running my video? This is a video that should be playing, so is this the... Okay.
What's the audio?
No, not the audio, just not starting.
Oh,
so,
it just won't start?
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's the quick player that is recording this lecture.
I don't know.
Okay.
You want to show the navigator to see if that might get you into it?
No.
No.
Oh, so weird. Let's
Did
try.
it play earlier?
Yes, for sure. Let's do this. Yeah, it's the quick player.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that I didn't know. Let me get that out of the way and play again. So I have to record my presentation, and apparently it was using quick player, and this is using quick player, so it wouldn't play. Sorry about that. Now it should all work out. I hope. Maybe. This is weird. Okay. If I do this now, will it work? Work! Do it! You did it before. Oh! This is not... Let me try this real quick. Let's try, otherwise I give up on this. All right, let's try. This will be a little less exciting without the video, which is why I'm kind of insisting on it at this point. It is? Okay. Then that was what I was missing. Okay. So, oh, that's better. Cool. So this is the app's main homepage with a list of courses that the user bought and also courses that might interest them based on previous searches and other discovery logic. It's built of rows where every row has a header and a list of cards that in this case are courses. And these are the main UI elements in Browse. This is the Leanback's default UI template for the main page. So it implements Leanback's UI concepts in a pretty straightforward way. There's a generic container, the array object adapter, that contains a list of rows. Every row, which is a list row presenter, has one header and many cards that are image card views. And these are the classes that are involved in Browse. It's a main activity that contains a single fragment. The single fragment extends Leanback's Browse fragment, and it uses course card presenter, which extends Leanback's presenter to know what details from a course to display on the cards. And this is the UI structure with Udemy courses in code. There's the course card presenter and the generic array object adapter. We just instantiate both of them and call set adapter, which is into Browse fragment base class. And for every row that we load, we just use, again, some sort of generic object adapter to load Udemy courses. I create a header and add this row with the header and the list of courses to the bigger rows adapter. Now, this whole logic was, again, created in the basic template. And the only thing that I had to do here was make sure that it uses a list of courses that are Udemy model. And again, the whole fetching of them, using the APIs, creating the thing was all the same code that I had for mobile. So I didn't have to make any changes there. The default template already comes with a lot of other logics, such as these item listeners. And again, all I had to do was make sure that instead of using movie or the default model, I just go to Udemy course and extract the information that I want from there. The course card presenter extends the generic Leanback presenter. Again, it's just another name for a recycler adapter, so on bind view holder looks pretty familiar. And it was, again, pretty straightforward to just grab the course, grab the information I want out of it, and set it into the view holder. And the view holder contains image card view, which is, again, a Leanback view. And you can customize it and change it a little bit by using the method setCardType. And again, this is fairly straightforward, comes out of the box and just works. The second screen is the course detail that happens when the user clicks on a particular course. And that view has two parts, which is the upper part, which is the course details with some actions on it, and the lower part, which is the list of lectures in this particular course. From here, you can basically just click on one to start playing it. The UI elements in course details are, again, presenters that are the same concept. They are wrapped this time in a class presenter selector because we do have two types of presenters. One is the details overview row presenter, and the lower one, which is the list row presenter. It's the same list row presenter with the same image card view, only this time instead of using a course, I am using a single lecture. And the classes in detail view are again an activity that contains a single fragment. It extends details fragment, and it uses two presenters, one for the lecture and one for the course details description. The course details overview row presenter is deprecated. It was in the default template that was generated by Android Studio. It just straight out showed as deprecated. But it seems like many apps still use this style and this presenter. So I decided to go along with this one for the sake of simplicity and consistency. There's a new class out there that can be experimented with. So this is the course details description presenter. This time, I'm not implementing any of the view holder stuff because all the view holder stuff are in the abstract details description presenter. So all I have to do again is take whatever information I want to display from a course and just put it in there. And the other things that I want to do on the course details is add actions that the user can take on this course. Here I added a little bit of customized logic that was relevant to Udemy. For example, if the user is already subscribed to this course, then they might want to just click resume and continue watching from wherever they were. But if they don't own this course, then they might want to purchase it, or if it's free, just straight out enroll in it. The lecture presenter is almost identical to course presenter. It does the same thing. It just uses a lecture instead of a course to take the information. And hooking it all up to the class presenter selector is just these three lines that I highlighted. Is just about instantiating it and then giving it these two classes. Again, this was all in the default template, so it's very obvious what's going on. So this is how playing a video looks like in the app. So there are controls that can be manually scrolled to and clicked, or the user can use the remote control directly to perform some actions. And there's also a list of lectures here, so the user can quickly navigate between lectures without going back to the previous page. The UI elements in playback are a video view. Sorry about that typo here. And the other part is a fragment that contains Leanback's default UI templates, which is, again, a class presenter selector. The top part is a playback controls row, and the lower part is another list row presenter. Now, this is the part where things got a little confusing, and the default template wasn't much help because a lot of this code wasn't implemented or was implemented poorly. So for this part, I mainly used the Android TV Leanback support library GitHub sample. It was a lot better in providing me with the things I needed, and the only things that were left to do was sort out the template code and replace it with better code, and again change from using a video or a movie to using Udemy courses and lectures. Now, the playback overlay activity contains video view, and it also contains the playback overlay fragment. And there are two ways to control the video. One is by clicking on the actions on the control row that is in the fragment. And the other is by just clicking the remote control for pause or play. And they need to interact between them because what happens is the remote control actions need to work directly on the video view. They need to do the actions on the video view. And they also need to let the fragment know that the certain action was made. Because, for example, if the user hits play, next time they see the controls row, they should see pause icon instead of play. And also the actions on the control row should activate, basically what they activate is the remote control actions that will go back to the video view. So this is the basic setup of the video view. It's just a matter of putting the video path in there. And the video path is coming from Udemy's model. And there wasn't a lot of work to do here. And the video view is the thing that plays, pause, seek to. And in order to handle the media buttons, I had to create a media session. And that media session contains the callback methods that I use to activate when the user clicks on remote control buttons. This is how the callback class looks like. It just calls methods directly in the activity. In this example, it's the play pause. And again, the play pause just talks directly to the video view and tells it what to do. This is the playback control row with a lot of actions that you can perform from it. And the second thing that I did was hook up the actions listeners, which is what is the action that needs to be done when the user clicks a certain action. And the action click listeners actually invoke the media controllers method. It's as if saying, hey, media controller, I clicked play or I clicked pause. And the way back is in the fragment, I created the media control callback, which will again get the information of what happened to the media session and receive these notifications and change the actions in my action row accordingly. The last thing I want to show is how I did the voice search. There are two types of search. There are in-app search and a global search. And this particular button activates the in-app search. So this code doesn't come with a default template, but the Leanback sample on GitHub was fairly complete and gave me a really good place to start from. The search contains an activity and a fragment that implements search result provider. And from there, it was just a matter of implementing on activity result to get the search query. They are the ones that are in charge of translating the words into a string. That all I had to do then was just use that string to call my own list of courses, please filter by whatever logic that I had. To create this proof of concept, I used mainly the default auto-generated template and the GitHub sample. I did use the Android official documentation for reference and when I got really stuck, but it wasn't that complete, or it doesn't provide you with that complete walkthrough. So in conclusion, I really did have a great time building the TV app, and it was a pleasantly smooth experience overall. I had something up and running in very little time, and Leanback provides a lot of support for quickly building something that is shippable. Just to get the foot out the door, the default template does a great job. And for the more complicated part, the GitHub sample was a great help. That's it. Questions?